Hiya. I'm a freshly shaven Jackson Small, and welcome back to Cowabunga Calvacade, and welcome back to Animation Station, your number one slash zipper at the end of the animation. And today we are going to continue through the TMNT 90s movie trilogy, but after that we finish that, we're probably going to stop for today because it's almost 6:30, and I want to try to get all these done before 8 o'clock. So, yep, tomorrow we will have the 2007 movie Turtles Forever and the Transdimensional Turtle Special, as well as reviews of Haunted Mansion and the Miraculous movie that's going to be on Netflix. So, yep, neat little update for you. That's what's coming then, but as of the now, let's talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. Um, I was obviously super excited when I found out there was a sequel, and I watched it and had a pretty good time, but I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed because of how nice and gritty and down to earth the first movie was. And then this one is just silly, because apparently the creators were not a big fan of the over emitted violence, and parents wouldn't stop complaining because apparently even Karens existed back then. So, yet now we have this sillier sequel that tries to be in the same vein of the original, but falls short in more than a few areas. But in my opinion, do I think it's still a good movie? Yes, I still think this is a very good, very fun, entertaining, enjoyable sequel. It's just not as good as the first, because the first was a near masterpiece in my opinion. This one is close. So we'll do it exactly the same way that we reviewed the first movie. We're gonna look at the cast, and I'll say my thoughts about them and their performances. And then we'll go over some. I think I did trivia first. Yeah, I did trivia. Then we did some quotes, and then I went into a full plot synopsis and talked about some of my favorite aspects of the movie, and then finished off with my Facebook review. So that is exactly what we are going to do today. So sit down, buckle up. This is going to be at least half an hour. This is my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. Let's begin with the cast. First up, we have Paige Turco as the voice, well, as April O'Neil, because apparently Judith Hoag had a lot of conflicts with the actual creators during the first movie's production, so they didn't even bother trying to ask her to come back, which is a shame. She did an amazing job as April despite those circumstances. But Paige Turco does an okay enough job as April. I don't like her nearly as much as I like Judith Hoag's performance, but she still does a really good job in this movie. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we have the late, great David Warner as Professor Perry. May he rest in peace. He did a great job in this movie with the little side role he has, and I really like all of his interactions with Donatello throughout the movie. Speaking of that, let's get to the guys in the suit and the guys with the voices. And I think this time... Oh, okay, no, it's not the same. Okay, we'll talk about the voices first, then we'll go back and do the guys in the suits. So for the voices, we have Robbie Rist returning as Michelangelo, which is always a treat. Brian Tochi is back as Leonardo, which is great because he still really nails that role. Laurie Fosco is Raphael this time. Yeah, he got recasted, but he's still fine enough. He does fine. And then Adam Coral is Donatello. I'll get more into that later, but I'm not a fan of his voice. And then David McCarran returned as Shredder, and Michael Makani returned as Tatsu. And then Frank Welker is Tukan Razar, the voice of him. And Frank Welker is Frank Welker. I don't need to see anything more there. So let's move back up and talk about the guys in the suits. We have Michelangelo, played again by Michael Sisti. He does a good job. Leif Tilden's back as Donatello. He does a good job. Ken Scott, or Ken Trom as he's called in the movie's credits, is Raphael. He does pretty good. And then Mark Casso is the suit actor for Leonardo, who also does really good. Then Kevin Clash returns as Splinter. Ernie Reyes Jr. joins the cast, this time as Kino, after being one of the people behind the suits in the first movie. Then there's also Francois Chow as Shredder. Okay. Then Toshiro Obata is back doing the human uh, interactions as Tatsu. Then Raymond Serra is Chief Stearns. He's back for the second time. Then in the suits, we had Mark Ginther and Kurt Bryant as Razar and Toka, respectively. And then we have Kevin Nash as the big hulking super shredder. I'll get more into that later, but he does such a great job with the little bit he gets. Any other really notable ones? Oh, Mark Doer is Freddy. He's fine. He's very much a side character. And then anyone else? Oh yeah, there's also Vanilla Ice as himself in the nightclub scene. Who else? Nope, that's about it. So this cast isn't nearly as stacked as the first one, but it's still pretty well done. And then Todd Langen's writing's still pretty good, and Michael Pressman does a good job with directing. Sorry, thought I had something in my ear. So yeah, the cast is pretty good. They're mostly mostly are from the first movie, and then some are recasts and newcomers. So yeah, let's continue on from there. Let's go to trivia first. And like I said, we'll only do 5 of them. Well, I didn't say it, but I only did 5 in the first movie. I'll only do 5 for this movie. So, yep, here we go. In the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie, the Turtles' facial expressions were cable operated with all the motors, servos, etc. housed in the shell. In this movie, thanks to a larger budget, the animatronics were smaller and lighter and were built into the face itself. Cool. I already went over Judith Hoag, but I guess I'll read the fact off anyway. Judith Hoag was not called in to reprise her role as April after the director was unhappy when she derided the way they mistreated the stunt doubles and their unfair schedule changes. Okay, she had her reasons. She stated at SuperCon Florida that she had no ill will towards Paige Turco. Instead, they met 17 years later and are now good friends. The directors found Paige Turco to resemble the character more, and found her chemistry with the Turtles to seem more sincere. That's debatable, but okay. She does a good job enough in this movie, so I have no ill will towards her. Ernie Reyes Jr. was Donatello's fight double in 1990. Producers liked Reyes so much they created the role of Keno, just for him to replace Casey Jones, because parents complained about him being overly ultra-violent. That's the whole reason behind his whatever, freaking Karens. Dedicated to the memory of Jim Henson. Yeah, this is one of Jim Henson's final projects before he passed away. May he rest in peace. The building used for the entrance to April's apartment is the office next to the New York location of Jim Henson's Creature Workshop. Okay, that's a cute touch. Oh, there's some cameos. Okay. Michael J. White, many of you know from Dark Knight and his brief little tenor as Spawn in the live-action movie, is a Foot Clan recruit at 42 minutes in. Mark Casso, the performer inside the Leonardo suit, also plays the man in the newsroom who tells April that Donatello is calling her. Nickel Insisti, the performer inside the Michelangelo suit, also plays the Soho man who talks with April before she enters the apartment. And Leif Tilden, the performer inside the Donatello costume, who also plays a foot soldier. Oh, and Michael Pressman, the director, has a cameo as the Channel 3 news manager. Cool. Honestly, some of these I didn't even notice until now, so... Sorry for yawning, it's been a long day. There's some quotes. Which one do I want to do? Yeah, I'll do this one when Raph is captured and they lure him into a trap. The perimeter's quiet. Yeah, a little too quiet. Wow, that was too easy. Yeah, a little too easy. Look, it's Raph. Yeah, a little too Raph. Boomers! The boomers! Oh! What do you expect? They come out quoting Macbeth? They are stupid. Well, they're not stupid. They're infants. Hey. Okay, the stupid infants. Sorry, that came out Australian. I'm sorry. The last lines. I did it for the first movie. Let's do it for this one too. Were you seen? Of course not, Mr. Splinter. We practice ninja, the art of invisibility. Practice harder. 10 flips now. And remember, go ninja, go ninja, go! I made another funny! Like, people say it's a bad line, but I disagree. I like that line. It's hilarious. Take the ugly one! No, you take the ugly one! I'll take the ugly one! Which one's the ugly one? Sure! Yeah! Thanks, Raph. I may never have the hiccups again! Any more? This one. Ninja pizza! Ninja pizza? Pizza that vanished quickly without trace. Okay, one more. One more during the cleaning montage. Hey guys, check this! Wax on, wax off. Wax on, mouth off. Hey, everyone's a critic. The quotes in this movie are so good. Like, even though I don't think this movie's great, it has some great quotes and a lot of really funny moments. So yeah, the quotes and dialogue are pretty funny. I quite enjoy it. Okay, now let's go to the plot synopsis. Oh, this one's much shorter than the last one. Okay. After their rooftop battle with the Foot Clan, the Turtles find themselves between homes and are living off pizza delivery from Roy's Pizza while staying in April O'Neil's new apartment with Master Splinter. When April covers the cleanup process underway in the city by TGRI, it's technically TCRI, but it's a minor little change, I don't really care. Splinter recognizes the initials from the canister of mutagen that turned them all into mutants. Meanwhile, the Shredder is alive and well and has resumed command of the Foot and seeks revenge upon Splinter and his students. Upon learning of the potential for the Ooze to mutate animals into minions, he sets out to obtain samples and scientists, kidnapping Professor David Perry of TGRI and forcing him to assist in the creation of two aggressive mutants to be his own pupils, Taka and Razar, or Toka and Razar, whichever pronunciation is fine. When the Turtles are discovered in April's apartment by Kino, the pizza delivery boy, they reveal their history and Kino tells them about the reborn Foot Clan's efforts to recruit people with fighting ability. Seeing the potential to infiltrate the Foot, Kino offers to sign up, but Splinter refuses to put him in danger and believes that they ought to get out of April's apartment first instead. Not willing to simply let the Foot Clan regroup, Raphael, as Splinter calls him, abandons the others during their search to team up with Kino, while his brothers stumble upon an abandoned subway station under the city, and I'll give them credit for this. It's a cool little set piece to have a layer, and not to mention it carries over into both Ninja Turtles 3 and Next Mutation. So they definitely got their usage out of that location, and I do think it's a really cool little hideout spot. Nothing against the sewer layer from the original, we just didn't see a whole lot of it. Professor Perry manages to contaminate the mutagen to ensure that Toka and Razar will not grow intelligent as a result of the mutation, in addition to growing. Shredder is persuaded not to kill them by the Professor due to their incredible strength, which is greater than anything exhibited by Splinter's pupils. Ironically, they imprint upon the Shredder as their mother. Oh, that's funny. After infiltrating the Foot, Raphael discovers that the Shredder is alive, only to be caught and used as bait. Kino gets word to the others, and they try to save him from the Foot's base in the junkyard. There they are caught in a well-laid trap. Master Splinter saves them, and they fight the Foot and Shredder's mutants in an effort to escape with Professor Perry. They make it back to the home in the old subway, where Perry reveals everything he knows to his new friends. Donatello and Perry begin working on an anti-mutagen when April sends word that the Shredder intends to let them loose on a rampage in Central Park if the Turtles fail to show at a fight to the death at a local construction site. The Turtles, armed with anti-mutagen donuts, face Toka and Razar, and the fight spreads to a local nightclub where they interrupt a performance by Vanilla Ice and Ninja Rap is born. The donuts do the trick, and the Turtles again confront the Shredder, who reveals his plans to create more mutants. When he exposes himself to the Ooze, he mutates into Super Shredder and tries to bury them all, but ends up killing himself instead. And then Splinter discovers that, the Turtles were not very stealthy, and, gives them a punishment of 10 flips, which was also used at the beginning of the movie when Michelangelo was acting a little overly excited, so... Yeah, overall, the plot's definitely not nearly as complex or great as the first movie, but it still gets the job done. It's still a pretty good story, and I do like that they tried to add some more mutant characters in there. But no Casey Jones, no Bebop and Rocksteady, it just doesn't feel right. Like, nothing against Tuka and Razar. I think they're cool, and I really like their designs. And the Creature Shop did an amazing job with their suits, but... I don't know, it just doesn't really have that same dynamic as Bebop and Rocksteady. And that might be because those two actually spoke, whereas these two, they just say random phrases. So, yeah. But yeah, that's the summary of the plot. And with that out of the way, now we get to some of my favorite parts of the movie. I think some of my favorite parts of the movie are the introduction. I love the fight in the mall. It's hilariously stupid, but also stupidly just enjoyable and goofy. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's a very fun fight sequence, and it's nice to even see Kino get some fights in for a change, too. And then I also really like Kino's dynamic with Raphael and how the two of them sort of bond and sort of don't. It's a bit weird. And then I really like the whole scene in the junkyard where Kino's going through the Foot Clan initiation, which is really cool. I also kind of like the little touch of having one of the Foot Clan soldiers be undercover as April's new crewman. I think his name was, what was it, Kenny? Benny? What the flying frick was his name? Whatever. Freddy. That's his name. Freddy. Freddy. It was Freddy, not Kenny. Freddy. I don't know how I got those mixed up. It's stupid. But, yeah, that was pretty cool. And then, I do like the whole fight in the nightclub, as stupid and silly as it is, and I do like the Ninja Rap. It is a banger, in my personal opinion. And you're talking to someone who's not even that much into rap music, so if you can get me interested, then you're doing something right. And then the ending is anticlimactic and sucks. Yeah, it just sucks. And then the other scene I really like... Honestly, I don't know. Oh, the beginning with the turtles in the apartment. That's a really cool scene. I like that scene. Okay, so I think I've discussed everything I can about this movie. Let's do the written review now. And then after we do the written review, then I will give you my final verdict, and then we'll move on to the next one. Really good acting, decent writing, great suits and animatronics, decent action, okay humor, an awesome ending with Super Shredder. Awesome as in the visual, not in the actual execution, because the execution at the ending is crap. Does a great job continuing the story of the first, a pretty good soundtrack, some pretty funny moments here and there, Shredder still being a pretty good villain, and a good runtime that doesn't overstay its welcome. However, it's a pretty big step backwards from the first one because of Donnie's new voice just not working, the recasted April being far inferior to Judith Hogue. She's inferior, but she's not bad. She's okay. She's serviceable. No Casey Jones, that's a huge letdown in my opinion. Lack of adult elements in favor of more silliness because of the Karens that won't stop complaining, the side characters being just okay, the writing being very hit or miss, the odd pacing still being prevalent, and the action being meh because they can't use their weapons anymore, because so many complained about it in the first one, along with the cursing, which is also a bummer because it was some of the funniest parts of the first. While it's far inferior to the first, I still really do enjoy it. Yes, it's overly silly, and all the adult maturity that made the first work so well is a huge bummer. But it's still a lot of fun to watch despite its drawbacks. Still recommend it pretty highly, but temper your expectations accordingly. Yeah, that's pretty much how I would also summarize my thoughts on this movie. It's a fun watch, but this one is still clearly the better one. Like, it did such a great job at nailing the feel and tone of the comic books while also having the goofy silliness of the 87 show. Whereas with Next Mutation, if I can, not Secret of the Ooze, if I can stop hitting my camera. With this one, it was more 87 show and less comic book accurate tone and feel. But it's still really good. I'd still really enjoy and recommend this movie. But don't go in expecting it to be better than the first, because it's not by a long shot. But it's still a really fun movie, and if you can find it for a cheap price or in a 3-pack with the other movies, I recommend giving it a go. It might turn out to be one of your favorites, and even if you don't like it, well, at least you watched it to know for sure. My final verdict for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze is going to be a strong 7 out of 10. I feel like a 7 is more than fair for this movie because it's not great, it's far inferior to the first, but it's still a really fun watch and a pretty good sequel. So, yeah, I recommend this one. Give it a watch back to back with the first, just don't expect it to be as good as the first. So, yep, that is Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned because you got one last review for today, because it's not even 8 o'clock yet. So, we got one more review. And this is the one that a lot of people despise and call one of the worst movies of all time. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm not going to say it's a good movie either. Do I think it's a terrible movie? No. Do I think it's laughably bad in parts? Sure. But what's my overall opinions and thoughts on it? Well, tune in next time when we talk about Ninja Turtles 3. And no, I'm not slashing this in half with a katana, because these VHS tapes are hard to find now. So, yep. I'll see you next time for my review of Ninja Turtles 3. Cowabunga, dudes!